Ari Louis Show.
Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of the Ari Louis Show here on IsraelSportsandNewsRadio.com. Thank you for joining us. Happy to have everybody aboard. You can email us at any time at arilouisshow@hotmail.com, or you can email the station at IsraelSportsandNewsRadio@gmail.com. The 6th annual Israel Netball Finals will occur this Thursday in Modi'in, a big event. And on the line right now from the defending champion Tel-Aviv Netball team, trying to repeat this Thursday, is Laragh Widess. Laura, how you doing out there?
Great, thanks, Ari. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. Now, last year your team was undefeated. This year you have a loss early in the season, but I understand that you were missing a few players, so tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so last season was, I suppose, our peak so far. We had a big squad. We had a lot of really great players, including ones who'd been in the club for a while. And then this season we just happened to have a few people leaving Israel to go back to different countries. We've had a pregnancy. We've had all kinds of reasons why people have left, and of course we've had new people come in. It just hasn't quite balanced it out. So we've had a much smaller squad this season. So we had a couple of really tough games where we were missing key players, and then one game where we actually didn't even start the match with enough players. There's 7 players on a netball team, and we started the match with 6.
Okay, so you were able to basically compete even though you were missing a lot of people, and you described it to me as kind of like playing a basketball game 4-on-5. Is that a good analogy?
Yeah, and then so that's actually a game that we ended up winning somehow. So that our loss came. It was our first match of the season, where we were without our 2 specialist shooters. So I actually had to try and get the ball in the ring for the first time since I was about 17 years old. But the match we started with 6 players. It's like playing a 5v4 basketball match. And then actually at the end of the third quarter, one of our shooters hurt herself and couldn't play in the final quarter. So we played the whole of the final 15 minutes, 7v5, and we won the match by 2 points.
Incredible. So when do you find out that you have to be one of the shooters? Do you know before game time, or did you know in advance that would be something you'd be called upon to do?
There's always a worry that if the specialist shooters go down, I'm going to be called upon, because shooting in netball is quite a specialist position, because it's a little bit harder to get the ball in, because we don't have a backboard. We just have a post with the ring on the end, and the ring's a little bit smaller than a basketball ring. So mostly people who shoot have done that since they were young. It's a kind of specialist position. And not all teams, especially when it's a small sport and you're kind of relying on a lot of newbies who've never played before to come and start and try it, give it a go and play. Actually, you don't have enough specialist shooters. So people pick it up, they give it a go, and, people make do, basically. But because I did actually used to be, I played one of the shooting positions when I was at school in my school team, which was a very successful team. Even though I don't enjoy it, it's not my favorite position. If I'm needed, I will go there, because I do have more experience than a lot of other people in that position.
It's kind of like in football when the wide receiver is the third string quarterback, and 2 of them go down, he has to come in. So we see that time and time again, and you were able to get that job done and get the victory for Tel Aviv. Again, this
Just about.
Yes. This is the Ari Louis Show here on IsraelSportsNewsRadio.com, and we're talking about the netball final this Thursday. Now, Laura, last year we discussed at the end of the season some concern about where your team would practice, about finding courts. How did you guys get that done in the end?
Well, I mean, our amazing manager, Ronnie Kresner, and the president of Israel Netball, Judy Aknin, and various other really, really hard-working forces of Israel Netball managed to find us a court in Beit Babur, which is in Tel Aviv, a little bit further out of the center to where we were before, that allowed us to put up our netball posts, because we managed to find them when they were renovating the court. So they were already doing work on it, and we had to ask them to drill holes into the court to stick the posts. That's the only way we were going to be allowed to have netball posts, because freestanding ones are still deemed too dangerous by the Tel Aviv municipality. So we got them whilst they were already doing all this drilling and building work, asked them to drill these holes for our posts to slot into, which makes them strong and sturdy, and asked them to mark out the lines of the court as well, because whilst it's basically the same size as a basketball court, there are slight differences in the court markings, like the size of the D or the ring or whatever you want to call it. And stuff like that. So they did, and we're lucky that we played this season in a brand spanking new court in a nice sports complex. It's a little bit further out of Tel Aviv, so we did lose one or two of our social players this season because it was just a little bit too far for them to go, which is very sad. But mainly we're really happy with how that's gone.
And how did sponsorship go? Because I know a pizza shop, I think, sponsored you guys last year.
A burger joint.
Burger, excuse me. I'm mixing up my fast food. So
Yeah.
Did they sponsor you again this year, or did you have to find a different way to get sponsorship?
They didn't, which is completely understandable, because for them, I think they realized they sponsored us for a couple of years. We were really grateful for their sponsorship, and we basically just weren't able to give them as much of a return as they would like, because we weren't going there every week, after our training, which is kind of what they would need in order to justify the money that they were giving us. We would be going once every couple of months. Because it's hard to get, a group of young working women together that often to go and have a burger together when we're all busy with our lives doing different things. So we're very grateful for Shusha Tel Aviv's sponsorship until now. And so this season, we had to try and find a new one, or at least a few new ones. And we got a very kind donation from TLV1 Radio, actually, but not as much as we were getting from Shusha. So basically, we've had to cover more of our costs this season because we didn't find anything else. And it's an ongoing problem. It's something that all amateur sports have to deal with, but especially if you're a small sport. A lot of people in Israel haven't heard of it, so they don't even know what you're really asking for when you go to someone to ask for sponsorship. So it's been a bit of a struggle this season in that sense. Money is always a problem because renting the court's very, very expensive in Tel Aviv, even more so than the rest of Israel. And it's expensive for some people to pay the membership because the membership just has to cover the court fees. But as far as I know, no one's ever not joined us because of money. We always find a way to help people out if they're struggling. But next season we're really looking for sponsorship, big sponsorship.
All right, and at the end of the segment, we'll tell people how they can get in touch with you or the team if they want to be a sponsor. Now, going into the finals, you're going to be playing against Katamon, and tell us about it's a young team, and they almost beat you. They lost 35-33.
Yeah.
So tell us about how you guys are going up against them. You don't have to give up your whole strategy, obviously, but tell us the main idea going against Katamon on Thursday.
Yeah, well, they're a young team. They used to be a school team, so they know each other really well, and they've been playing together as a unit for longer than any of the other teams in the league. And obviously with youth comes fitness as well. They kind of run rings around the other teams a little bit because they're all sort of 19 years old. But this year they graduated from school at the end of last year, so they don't actually practice regularly together because they're all off doing their national service in different parts of the country. One girl flies in from Eilat to play matches. We have the advantage of having regular training together. In fact, some of the girls actually come to our training in Tel Aviv when they're around. And that's great because they inject a lot of youth and energy and skill into our practices, and we welcome them. And one of them, in fact, was at our training on Sunday night, and there was no issue of sharing tactics or worrying about that. It's all very open, and
wait a second. Hold on. Someone from their team spied on you guys? Is that what you're telling me?
So she's doing her national service at the Kiryah, the Ministry of Defense in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, that's what they told you. Sure.
So she regularly comes to our training, and I coach the Tel Aviv team, and if other people come, I'm really happy to coach them too. And when it's a young sport, you want the sport to do well, and you want anyone in Israel that could possibly be interested to come and play wherever they can and to enjoy it. And the sort of club affiliation and your own personal competitiveness kind of comes second a little bit.
Well, that's good. I wish a certain other sports league would learn from your example and your league.
Right.
We'll talk about that another time. Now, so this game, the title game is Thursday. What's interesting is that Israel adopts many times a European style where they have a bronze medal game. That's not so much an American thing, but you see it at the Olympics, you see it in Europe. The bronze medal game is two Jerusalem teams, Jerusalem Merkaz and J-Town.
Yeah.
And tell us about those two teams and who do you think has an edge in that game?
Well, they're both very good teams. I would say that Jerusalem Merkaz is maybe the most improved team of the league this year. They've always been strong. They have a mixture of a couple of players who've got quite a lot of experience, originally from the UK or other places where netball is a big sport, but also some players who are new to netball. They've actually got a couple of ultra-Orthodox women on the team as well, which is a very interesting element of netball in Israel and why I think it has a lot of potential and should be supported by the government. And those players have obviously got a very steep learning curve and have been learning a lot very quickly. And we had a very tough match against them in the last league match that we played. And I think that also they came to our training 2 trainings ago in order to kind of beef up for their bronze medal match. And, I was giving them a few training tips and stuff. So I think that they're probably the favourites because of their sort of upward trajectory. But J-Town also have a couple of very experienced players. And they're always a tough team to play against. And I think it will be a very good match. Not quite as good as our final, of course. I have to say that, but no, it will be a good match to watch. There's a lot of skill and experience on display there. So
I like that there are more ultra-Orthodox women get involved. I played a netball game a few years ago, and I remember they were telling me before the game, okay, this girl here, you can't touch her because she's Shomer Nagia, so don't touch her. So it was good that I was happy to see that. Now, I want to go back to you're playing Kato and their young team. I'm curious about what is prime age when it comes to netball, because in baseball, usually it's 32 for a hitter. Basketball, it's about 28, 29. Well, what's the best age for a netball player?
If you're talking on a kind of professional level, then it would be similar to other kind of athletic sports, so late 20s, I guess, because you've got a mixture of physical prime but experience. But I think it varies a lot because it's a very thinking game. It's very strategic, very tactical. So I think that it's probably possible to be effective later on in your career. And it's difficult to build up the experience you need at a very young age. Having said that, because of the kind of the specific positions that there are on the court, different positions require different physical attributes. And if you're over 6 foot tall, you're going to be, especially in a kind of semi-professional or an amateur level, you'll be a world beater when you're 16 if you're already over 6 foot. Whereas, if you're playing in the center court, you really need that experience in order to be very, very good. And here in Israel, some of our best players are, well into their 30s. We have a very experienced player who's pushing 60, let's just say, who's still absolutely great shooter. And then we have these young girls from Katamon. One of them, I'd say, is one of the best players in the league, and she's 18, 19. So it very much depends.
Again, this is the Ari Louis Show here at IsraelSportsNewsRadio.com. We're talking about the netball finals on Thursday. It's the 6th edition. So, Laura, if your team wins, you're on the verge of a dynasty, right? 2 titles in a row, and then out of 6, it'd be pretty good.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that we're a force to be reckoned with, and we're the team that people are really afraid to go up against, or at least we're the team that people are pleased that they've just given us a good match. They don't even care if they win. They're just really happy that they've given us a run for our money. That's what I hope.
Ooh, I like that. That's the good stuff. We'll get into potential trash talk in a bit, but I wanted to go. I know I'm jumping around a bunch of places, but I find this whole concept fascinating. And I want netball to do well. When you talk about the Israel government should support you, what would they have to do, or what does your league have to do to make that happen? Do you have to qualify as a certain nonprofit status or sports status? So tell us about how that would work.
So you're not speaking to exactly the right person, because this is not my area. I'm more of a coach and a player, but we're not recognized as an official sport by the Israeli government. So that's step number one. We have to get them to recognize us with the same level of recognition as American football or baseball or even volleyball. I think even Mamanet, which is the kind of the version of volleyball that was invented for mums to play. It's massive here, is recognized. So we need to get that. And I'm not entirely sure how we do, because I know that the people who run Israel Netball have really tried hard for that. I don't know whether it's that we need to have a certain number of players in different parts of the country. I'm not sure, but I think it's obviously partly to do with the fact that the people you're talking to haven't heard of it, and it's hard to convince them that it's a big sport or that it's a good sport. I doubt any of them have ever seen it. So that's what we need to do. Once you've qualified as an official sport, you'll get a certain amount of help and funding, which can kind of then set you on your way.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. That funding, are we talking about in the hundred thousands of dollars or more, half a million shekels? Okay, it's not that much?
I don't think so, not to start with. But then once you've established yourself a little bit, then I guess you can kind of qualify for more funding later on, depending on what kind of programs you offer. I mean, I think netball's got great potential because there's so much you can do with youth, with coexistence, because there's two elements really that make it, I think, unique. One is that it's a female sport, and pretty much only a female sport. It doesn't have to be, but normally it is. Secondly, it's non-contact, which is very important for getting religious players involved, or people who don't want to get battered and bruised. So that's like maybe older people or younger people, whatever. So it's very inclusive, and it's very, very accessible in the sense that it's not got difficult rules to learn, and the basic skills are quite easy to pick up. So I think the potential to kind of bring a lot of different people together is massive. And as you can see, we've already got ultra-Orthodox women playing with us, which is something that I think people wouldn't expect.
Indeed. Again, this is the Ari Louis Show here on IsraelSportsNewsRadio.com. We're talking about the netball finals on Thursday. It is good to see that you'd have ultra-Orthodox players and secular players and a mix of everybody. Everybody in general in the league, even though they're on different teams, they come from different backgrounds. My guess, based on talking to other players, there's a communal aspect. It seems like everybody gets along at the end of the day. Would
Definitely.
you say so?
Yeah, absolutely. And even it's like any sport. You're going to have some mini bust-ups on the court sometimes. There's going to be some kind of tension. It wouldn't be sport otherwise, and it wouldn't be fun otherwise. But at the end, everyone is really friendly, very open-minded, and everyone's there to enjoy themselves. It's amateur sport, so everyone's there to enjoy themselves.
All right, so Laura, again, the championship game is on Thursday. You're playing Katzmon. Would you like to make a prediction here on my program?
It's going to be a really good match. Everyone agrees that the first time we played them, as you said, that the score was very close. Was a very, very good match. I think we're both teams are at basically full strength, and we've got different strengths. As I said, they're young and fit, and they've got some really flair players and some great shooters. But we're very experienced, and we're very strong all the way down the court. Our attack is as strong as our defense, which is one of the reasons why we've done so well in the last couple of years. So I think we'll edge it. Yeah, I think I'm confident in my team.
I like that prediction, Laura, because you had the diplomacy, but still said you guys are going to win. So I like that. Again, the finals are Thursday. That's in Modi'in, Sports Center out there. There's a Facebook group if everyone out there wants to join it. Israel Netball 6 League Finals, you can join it. Also, Laura, if anybody out there wants to sponsor your team or get in touch with you, how should they go about doing that?
So we have a Tel-Aviv Netball Facebook page. Just type Tel-Aviv Netball into Facebook. Or you can get in touch with me if you specifically want to ask more questions or anything. That's Laragh, Laragh, at tlv1.fm. But Facebook is the way everything works here in Israel. Everyone lives their lives through Facebook, so that's probably the best way is through the Facebook page.
All right, sounds great. And again, good luck to you. I'm sorry I can't be on Thursday. To be honest with you, I have a synagogue league basketball game myself that I have to go, and I'm on the team, and I'm the three-point shooter, so I have to attend. I am disappointed. I wanted to see you guys play.
Well, good luck with that, anyway.
Yeah, thank you. So it's good. We're both part of sports in Israel, and
absolutely,
making it go forward and being part of all that fun. So good luck to both of us. Hope both our teams win, and we'll follow up and report on the victory, hopefully, for you guys and for my team as well.
Let's hope so, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Laura, thank you for being on. I really appreciate it, and good luck to you on Thursday.
My pleasure. Thanks, Ari.
Thank you. Be well.